All right, Waves, elevator music. This is awkward.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
It's like the elevator scene in Evangelion.
you should have played the royalty free.
I actually really love the elevator music remix of the Star Wars theme that plays in the first Family Guy special, the Star Wars special that he made. There's a
I
point.
think it's called Blue Soul or something.
Yeah, Blue Harvest. Basically, there's a point where both Han and Luke are going through an elevator, and they have an elevator remix of the Star Wars theme. It actually sounds pretty good. So.
Yeah.
All right. You actually have a new tool here from that past sequence, which is the Mirror of Fate. Only a few fragments of the Mirror of Fate survive the ruins of Dracula's tower after Simon and Alucard defeated him. Their nicked glass still retains a trace of a magic that has guided Belmont destiny this far. Perhaps, if the parts were brought together again, it would once more show their fate to those who see reflections within it. So get ready, guys, because this is the part that basically tells you what you need to know ultimately about the game. Where all the loose ends gets resolved before the final boss. So
Yep.
Actually, I think it's now that I think better. I think it was the Empire theme that they remixed, not the main theme.
But again, you actually have seen it correctly. You actually also have the Mirror of Fate as an actual item, but don't get too excited about it because it's clearly a last minute addition that you use for like 2 or 3 of these puzzles, and that's it. It's an interesting neat trick. Dracula has to rearrange the fragments into composing the face of the door that he's seeing, which will automatically open it. Don't ask me how that manages to work, but it is cool, admittedly.
Like Trevor
Are you
said,
trying
the
to
mirror.
solve a puzzle?
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's like Trevor said, the mirror does as it pleases.
And it is magic, so...
Do you have to use 6 axes?
Surprisingly not, despite this series at the very least has the courtesy of, despite being third party, not being bogged down by console restriction for the sake of selling the gimmick.
Thank goodness. That said, though, like we did mention, this... Okay,
There we go.
we do have to come to the conclusion that, well, yes, some of the problems of this game were caused by executive meddling. Some other issues were apparently just ideas that the team themselves came up with. And apparently one of those issues, thankfully, got mitigated from what it actually could have been, aka the whole Victor Belmont, originally being Julius Belmont thing. Like, that wasn't a studio executive mandate, because if it were, well, obviously they probably wouldn't have been able to fight against that. But no, that was actually their idea from the get-go, and it was not a good one, needless to say, as Tio pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this game is a weird anomaly of a mixture of good ideas, maybe some bad ideas, and again, overall, the thing does reek of desperation.
This next puzzle is slightly interesting. You actually don't have to actually move. Yeah, you actually have to sit your ass down and let the mysterious swordman's lieutenant actually do his work. But what you're supposed to do while standing still, after I get this, actually no, I don't have the key right now. What I'm supposed to do is to actually throw the daggers, my shadow daggers, to the correct platforms in order for him to pass. And if I don't do that, he gets hit by a fireball. What a shame.
Fire your daggers to the platforms closest to me so that I can move forward.
I'm doing it. Basically, it's all about aiming correctly and have the right timing. Ow, but you can also get hit.
Huh. This looks like It Takes Two to a set piece.
A bit.
Somewhat.
There we
Let's
go.
see that you really are linked.
And yeah, Open Sesame, we're actually very close to the Basilica, surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm. It's all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
objective is very close now.
Sure. And I think we're about to get our last new enemy type of the game. Again, we're actually very close to the end as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are not as difficult as the Reapers in the first game. They do not one-shot you that easily, but they're still very annoying on their own. You need to be careful. The Dark Monks, unlike the Clerics of the Brotherhood, the Dark Monks do not show their fate through prayer and good deeds, but through most bloody displays of evil that a human being is capable of carrying out. Their highest aspiration is to earn a place among the ranks of the army of Satan that is forming in hell. So they kill, torture, and terrorize without mercy. The most devout are buried alive under statues with their likeness so that their souls can find their way back when invoked. Through the weight of their material body, their spectre received the favor of their god, directly turning demonic power into a macabre spell. Projecting mortal energy and calling Satan's troops are some of the weapons they use to proclaim their coming of a new era of evil. Damn, you don't really get much more evil than these folks. And yes, these are enemies that can summon others, so again, you need to prioritize the one that are actually chanting spells. Yes,
I should
Joe?
probably clarify, when I did say that the thing does reek of desperation, again, I repeat, I don't mean it in the sense that this game is bad, but just in the sense that they were really desperate to put in everything they could because, well, end of the road.
Oh,
and all.
shit.
Here we go.
When several dark monks come together in hellish communion, they acquire the power necessary to hide the arrival of a dark apostle from the eyes of God. They are one of the 12 supernatural entities of infinite evil selected by Satan to spread cruelty in the world of the living. Wherever they go, they take with them the extreme heat of hell, burning all up with the flaming claws and devastating breath. As long as the litany of the monks lasts, the five beasts can continue to manifest their enormous power, ripping souls left and right, essentially. Basically, when one of those things, appear, target it immediately, or at the very least, try to target any other monks that remain, because otherwise, you will be in one hell of a time.
Mm-hmm.
Not intended.
So I don't think I've asked you this, TL and Jova, but what's your opinion on the music?
I really love it. The musical entire trilogy, absolutely fantastic. I wish Oscar did compose for more video games, to be honest.
Yeah. I'd argue the music is definitely the most consistent thing quality-wise of the franchise.
Any extra showcase is able to multitask. He's mostly handling an orchestra, but for the modern section he does actually use electric instruments. So it is interesting.
Yeah.
Mind you, I cannot see him composing for stuff like Metroid Dread, because his style probably does not fit the kind of tone that Metroid goes through. But again, in general, if he was actually hired to compose for I don't know, like a Dark Souls style game, I could see that happening.
Get him to compose Elden Ring.
No, I think I forgot if it's still Motoi Sakuraba doing that or not. I'll have to check. Okay, anyone else who wants to interrupt? No? Good. Okay, let's have our co-op moment. Why not?
Very good.
There we go. Let me just handle things. Quickly, especially because we're about to get some also combat-heavy sections. And here's our third acolyte, Guido Salazar, voiced by Mark Lewis Jones.
Whom from the corners of the earth are all powerful. To you it is said. Contemplate the glorious face of Satan.
You know, with how obviously evil looking some of these guys are, it really is a wonder how Zobek wasn't able to get an idea that
Yeah, seriously,
maybe
this guy literally has sharp teeth. This guy literally has sharp teeth.
Like, again, Zobek, how many years were you going at this idea?
And by the way, this speech of his character going against Satan goes on for a very long time. Hold on. Excuse me? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes. What's this? A trick?
No, okay, Dracula, this is not the time to trip balls. Oh, damn it. Fine, since we're here, might as well. Let's hope that the lieutenant doesn't kill us in the meantime. Yeah, we only need to do one last bit in the quote-unquote past.
Mm-hmm.
One last memory to reassemble. But let's check in the meantime, if I recall correctly, the bio of the Apostle. Oh, Szandor, sorry. As humanity prospered under the promise of corrupt leaders and the hope that a blind god would take them in after that, the number of members of the Church of Satan was growing enormously. The main reason is sentence for Dracula, Guido Szandor, a false priest who by day preaches a corrupt version of the word of God and by night soothes the fable with diabolical promises of salvation. His sermon is directed at sinners, cowards, and the ambitious, who are willing to pay any price in exchange for a guide at the end of time. The will of the people under the power means Satan's influence in the world increased, making it possible to indoctrinate new bankers, politicians, and journalists, from whom the rest of humanity will be subordinate.
Of course.
I actually forgot. Deji and Jova, you can have me on this one. Have any of you two read the Batman the Cult?
Nope.
It's actually a very interesting story where it's literally Batman finding this like very odd religious cult led by this guy called Deacon Blackfire that through his action almost manages to outsmart Batman. Almost, mind you, he still wins at the end, obviously, but he comes really close to do it. It's actually one of the best one-shot villains that Batman got. And then the guy cameoed very briefly in Batman Arkham Knight as a wimp.
Sorry, we can't have anyone outsmart the Batman that isn't the Joker.
It's not even that, Dej. Deacon Blackfire is almost treated as a joke in that game.
Honestly, almost all the villains that aren't Joker or Scarecrow or the Arkham Knight, with quotation marks, weren't treated as a joke.
Well, I do like what we did with the Riddler. So.
He wasn't treated as a joke.
Alright, let's get to the throne room. As you can see also with the dragon statues. Pretty cool, actually.
Oh, yeah.
You
Come
coming,
on, Trevor.
Yeah.
Speed up a little bit.
man.
Come on.
There it is.
This is where it's happened.
Where the game actually started.
Is the castle gonna turn on you?
No, actually that's a good thing, Dej. I'll mention this right after this particular bit because it's gonna replay a bit from the prologue. Remember what Trevor said also, choose your family when the time comes.
Good to know, Marie. You've been such a great help.
So are they real or is he just hallucinating?
No, it's not even hallucination. It's more, again, like I mentioned, it's more about Gabriel putting Eve's memories and psyche together.
It's very
Don't worry, I'll
important.
mention more in a couple of minutes.
Well, it's like even you admitted that the game does not elaborate.
No, but
on it.
Conversely, it's very easy to interpret.
Again, you don't always leave stuff up to interpretation if you were.
Okay, Jova, but if it's obvious, there has to be a point where things do not seem that ambiguous.
There needs to be good sense of balance, though. In this game, I don't feel achieved that. But anyway, let's read.
Actually, no, we're actually flashing back
Story-wise, I meant.
to where the game started.
I was being metaphorical, but yeah.
Essentially, you're gonna have to replay the sequence with the first couple of nights in the throne room, and then the fight against Roland de Roncesvalles, with this weird slow-mo Vaseline effect on top of it.
Kind of weird, but whatever.
Alright, let me use this time to recap that, since it didn't happen. Okay, the figure that Dracula was chasing in the present was turned out to be the last remaining Belmont, a guy called Victor Belmont. Dracula, through him, managed to give him the antidote to the remaining survivors of Castlevania City, and after that, they tried to sniff out the second acolyte, but Victor decided to sacrifice himself to lure him out, meaning that his presence was very short-handed. Dracula managed to enter the building and actually killed the second acolyte by managing to lure him into this psychic realm. So there is that. Oh my god, I can't see almost anything.
Yeah, this filter is pretty bad.
I wonder if this is supposed to also be a kind of a homage to that dream sequence in MGS3, where Big Boss is hallucinating the moment that hack and slash minigame, which kind of has that kind of filter on it and slow-mo. But anyway, let's do this again. Why not? Also, fun fact in the meantime, Jova, Mark Lewis Jones is mostly a TV actor. I see he has on some video games like The Witcher 3, but he was also in one movie actually that I could find. As I mind you, as an extra kind of role, so nothing too important. Star Wars Episode 8.
Huh.
That's why the power of your god cannot destroy. Because I am his chosen one. Ubi fuerunt haec nomina et digna Dei, precipimus vobis, ad queligamus vos ut non habeatus.
So yeah, as you recall, Dracula pretty much was wiping out the floor with them. On a nuclear level.
Yeah, we're about to see it again. Why not?
My Latin's better than yours.
Well, they're fine for the most part, but they still have some flip-flop due to the English language. Hashtag still a Castlevania game.
I mean, can't Richter and Simon do some weird feats?
I get that a nuclear explosion that can be used from space. I find that be stretching. Anyway,
I find that hard to believe.
It turns out,
if you remember, this was the point where he kind of cut off because a figure approached a Dracula, mysterious figure. So now we're actually about time to see what happened.
That'd be a great What Happened episode, the end of the world.
So who was the mysterious figure? It's Alucard.
yeah.
And I gotta say, I really love this particular design for him. Especially since he's
Isn't it essentially his design from
Yeah,
Mirror
but now we can actually see it properly, rather than the cell shade of Mirror of Fate.
Made me what I am.
But listen
I
closely.
stand here before you, reborn, a vampire. I am
Yeah, sorry about that.
Why are you here?
Here, have a
You're
staff.
better than anyone. I cannot die. My immortality runs through your veins too.
Of course. Only my father.
Also, Trevor, in the meantime, got a kick-ass sword, and
He's about to mention it.
It's too late for me.
How can you be so sure?
The roots of evil are deep. Irreversibly so in the hearts of man. It is their true nature. Their destiny. I was their most devoted warrior. A champion of light. But I fell. Fell into darkness.
And
While
some
saving
barges in
people.
it says, did somebody say darkness?
Darkness.
go back to being dead, old man.
Yep, that's some irony.
The mighty Zobek hides from me like the scared rat he is. Even Satan himself is too afraid to leave the pits of hell and fight me.
Well, you did kick his ass.
But if
Yeah.
I die now, Alucard,
They will return.
they will simply take my place.
You can't die.
The irony.
Will prevail. It is the natural order. The world is like this.
Yeah.
Well, you're no fun.
So what he's trying to say is, what is a man, a miserable pile of
Maybe.
secrets?
But Alucard does have a
What if there was a
plan.
way to destroy their evil forever?
Oh?
To free mankind from tyranny. If they believed you dead, they would come out into the light once more, would they not?
True.
But how?
Fake his death.
As the Crusagram.
Eh? Like the sword you see in front of the knight.
He'd be looking like Seth Roth right now.
Yes.
He's
The
not,
hair, the
he's not
sword.
left-handed.
All those years ago, the first time we faced
Oh, I didn't notice he was left-handed.
Sephiroth has been left-handed since Advent Children.
I didn't notice. Huh.
I feel like we've seen Sephiroth occasionally.
However, hold on, this is
right now.
important. The sword won't kill Dracula, but it will put in a coma as long as it's jammed into him.
Hey, Snow White.
the true death you desire.
But...
But Satan will think you dead.
Mm-hmm.
Centuries will pass, and his acolytes will start to prepare for his return.
Data must be a moron.
Zobek.
Also, they'll
He's,
build
even Zobek will actually not suspect it.
Also, they'll build a city atop your castle, father, and they'll name it Castlevania City.
Zobek knows only too well that he is no rival for Satan, so he'll look for me, in the hope that I'm still alive somewhere.
And we'll grant him that hope.
Take a while though.
At the appropriate time, I will remove the sword. I'll make sure that Zobek finds you. He knows only that with your help can the acolytes be destroyed. And
So one might be left to wonder, what changed in Trevor to make him now
hold
see
on.
hope in his father?
Yeah, that is true as well.
Fragment your
Yeah.
Zobek will only see confusion.
I won't remember this conversation.
So this is one of those...
Until Dracula puts the pieces together.
How can you be sure I'll collaborate with him?
That is true as well.
In exchange for your help, he'll offer you the one thing you really desire. True death.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal peace.
Zobek is the vampire killer.
Yes. You thought your weapon broken, but he has found the fragments and rebuilt it. Only he can grant you eternal rest. You must allow
You can also see Gabriel's mood shift from being completely delusional to actually start feigning actual interest as he realizes the plan is actually a possibility.
For that to happen, you must recover all your powers again, in order to confront him at that critical moment.
And Alucard will provide a part in that, don't worry.
You're asking me
Mhm.
to free the world from Satan again? To sacrifice everything for humanity again?
Yes, I am.
That's what it takes to be a hero, Gabriel.
I'm no hero. I'm an anti-hero.
But don't you see...
Hold on. What was that quote from Into the Spider-Verse? Everyone sacrifices something. Hold on, this.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Into my heart before I change my mind.
Well, you asked for it, and yeah, oh my
You know,
god,
on second
Alucard
thought,
is looking
this was a
even
dumb
more
idea.
like Sephiroth here.
Last important bit.
Son, when will I meet you again?
Aww.
When I put my hand on your shoulder.
Yeah, this was all a plan from Dracula and Alucard to butt-fuck both Zobek and Satan at the same time. And as you can imagine, if you've done your math together, you probably know what's gonna happen now.
It won't work.
Okay, no. Well, first of all, this is a twist but actually like even more than one of the first game. But yeah, the lieutenant was Alucard at this time.
Well, they did share the same voice actor, I'll admit. When I first played this
keep
game...
keep in mind, I haven't lied to you, but it will become more apparent in a couple of parts.
I will say this, when I first played this game, the moment I realized that they were voiced by the same person, I thought, huh.
Yeah, Hey! But keep in mind, this is also working Alucard's advantage, like Jova thought mentioned, some minutes ago. This had given the excuse to Alucard to have Gabriel put his memories together in a positive manner, so that now when eventually the competition is erased, he's not going to be anymore the bloodthirsty monster that he has been.
Yeah. Which, again, means that maybe Dracula can have a happy immortal life instead of, being the goddamn villain. So yeah, basically the idea is that they want him to bring Lucifer back.
This was a complete bamboozling, and the best thing about it is that Dracula himself knew it and did not at the same time. Uh-oh.
I understand.
You do know that's Latin for "you're fired, mate."
Actually, it wasn't Latin.
Where has he gone?
I don't know. That language is unknown to me.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
It's ancient Enochian. The language of Satan. Miserable traitors!
You don't seem too happy to see us, Zobek.
So, everything that the first game lacked, but we can now actual fighting Zobek.
Great.
We finally get to fight Death.
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna I'm staying the fuck out of this.
And now we're fighting Patrick Stewart.
And yeah, that is much more cool design for Death.
Yeah, for one, they actually remember that Death is supposed to, be a skull, and he even has a scythe, too.
Although in a very interesting design.
I don't know, I think
it feels very... Okay. This design feels like it's trying to capture the Namora magic, but doesn't work.
And of course, Patrick Stewart has to every single line during the fight.
Why not?
Trust me, Des. It's way better than Death's design in the first Lords of Shadow game. Like, he wasn't even a skeleton.
Everybody's design in Judgment.
I like Death design in that.
I like Cornell's design in Judgment.
Okay, what makes the fight a bit more tough is that occasionally Death will decide to spruce in between the fight this bit, where some of these particular gargoyles that summon very powerful zombies, and you have to be careful about that. You have to use your projectiles to destroy the gargoyles on top.
Okay, Tia, don't worry. I got a foolproof plan of taking out those zombies.
Use Bill Murray as bait.
No. Buy the UK version of Carmageddon and run them over.
Oh my god.
I'm also demonstrating some of the ultimate attacks as well. The catacombs on which Satan's chapel of worship is built served as the tomb of the most prudent parishioners, known as the Black Saints, who collaborated in the growth of the church during the money. When the time came, the cadavers were dead, duly emptied and covered with cloths to keep all disease away from their bodies and give men well-deserved eternal rest. There is a privilege. The monastery rosters enclosed in the statues of a wall retain their vocal cords intact to call their servant, compensating their limited physical strength with the edge of their numerical superiority. So this is a problem that Death is exploiting, actually.
But the spike whip is cool, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, though, I do... Okay, this design of Death is weird, but it's weird in the sense that it's at least, a fitting enough take on Death that works in this universe. And again, much better than the original design in the first Lords of Shadow game, seriously.
There we go, you use the double jump and bend for a projectile.
And of course, the boss fight has awesome music.
Yeah.
Mixing that with the awesomeness of Patrick Stewart, and yeah.
This is actually one of the highlights of the modern setting, actually.
Honestly, definitely. One of the highlights of the modern setting.
And again, there's also the catharsis factor, both for the first game and now knowing the truth, also this to an extent.
Hey, you get to kill Death after you played for a patsy.
And the best part about it, Zobek now is the one that got bamboozled throughout the entire game.
Oh!
How's that for irony?
You gotta love how angry he is, like, gee, suddenly it's not so fun when you're the patsy, now is it, Zeph?
I will say, however, it was a bit tough being focused on the cutscenes where the auto savings kept popping up like 3 times over the course of it.
I was about to say, it literally appeared on top of Alucard's nose itself.
At least I'm glad that it's a case where here this is a digital copy that I have of a game, and at least I'm glad that it's a case where the autosave does not fuck up, you know, the cutscenes like freezing them mid, like in a lot of other games happen.
Really? I've never had that happen to me in a
Remember,
game
Joe, I encountered this kind of problem in countless games where, for some reason, the auto, like Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands HD, where the autosave makes sure that the cutscenes like have an audio glitch or they literally freeze until the autosave is done.
Huh.
Yeah, get off. Also, of course, these are zombies, but they could potentially stalk you even if you cut their legs off. Jesus. And yeah, the move that I just performed with the Voice Sword is the most powerful that it is, and it's a guaranteed almost full health refill with a very minimal cost in terms of magic. So yeah, you do get it late in the game, but at the very least, it's very worth it. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Does he even have one?
Dracula still? Yes, he still has. Remember, despite all of this, he's still God's champion. That's the ultimate irony. I guess. There we go. Alright, one last phase. And yeah, it's like... Sure. And aside from some of these, you know, context-sensitive buttons, most of the fight with Death is surprisingly not easy, but intuitive. You know, you actually have to perform and outsmart his attacks. There's actually one occasion where pushing through his guard is actually rewarded and being, you know, punished. You also have to watch the position of the scythe when he actually moves it, because there's a perpendicular movement and one with actually horizontal, and you have to jump over. There we go. And again, if you manage to keep the momentum going, you can actually chain up your combo very effectively. Sure. Alright.
You were saying...
Famous last words.
Alright, now we need to just get it by passing this very pathetic barrier. We just need to use the mist power for it, as you can imagine. Well...
Wow, good job! How
it's very pathetic. I was just demonstrating that.
And stab. That beard sucked anyway.
I just realized you killed Death. I can't help but laugh at the irony.
It really was a cold day in hell.
It's over! There we go. And yes, Dave Cox actually had to confirm on Twitter that this is actually the actual death of Zobek.
I guess given the fact that this is the end of the franchise.
Yeah. So the word is without death, I guess.
Were they planning to make a third game?
And look at this. Look at this. Now Dracula is able to hold the vampire killer.
Well, he doesn't use it anyway, but, you know, just in case he may want the final death or something.
Well, that's the thing, though. Remember, in the original game, the cross pretty much broke on impact when he became a vampire.
That is also true. That is also true.
But now he can hold it just fine. I guess because he's good again? I don't know.
Well, we don't need it anyway for the time being. So, now all you need to do is actually to reach back to the chapel where it all started and actually confront the final acolyte, and we'll see what happens with Satan. But we'll have to wait for that for a second, because first of all, I think I'm gonna showcase also the bio of Zobek. I forgot if I mentioned the mastery is the one that allows you to unlock more powerful moves. So again, the more you use the more varied you use your moves, the more you are rewarded with them. The game encourages you to not just the square combo.
Mm-hmm. So Tio,
Yeah.
what would you say is your favorite boss in this game? Well, okay, maybe. You know what? I'll make it easier for you. What's your favorite boss in the past section and modern section?
Toymaker for the past, probably this one for the present. Countless Victorian literary references have inspired Zobek to shape his true appearance as his most admired character is described, Death, a legendary scattered being that ends the life of humans once the role in the world is finished. During an endless period of time in which he was trapped in his domains, the King of Death studied desperately to find new ways to manifesting his power. Using all of his effort to gather a significant number of souls, he found a way to forge with them a ghostly scythe with extraordinary properties. It's a weapon that would be of great use when his skills of brandishing, cutting words is not enough to avoid battle. So this is the best explanation you get how Zobek managed to come back to life. He used souls.
Not only that, but he took inspiration from the fables made about him.
After the events reflected in the Mirror of Fate, Dracula's firstborn kept away from the humans' cities before accepting his new nature. He wandered in the night like no one of the godless creatures that he swore to destroy so long ago, until he understood that there was nothing he could do now to get back to the life that was taken away from him. He could only abandon his old ways and search the one thing that made sense of his existence. After visiting the tomb of a wife he longed for, he set out alone on a campaign. Basically, the idea behind is that after the event of Mirror of Fate, Alucard rationalized that killing Dracula was, pointless at this point, and just decided to find ways to make sure that the Gabriel within would return one day.
While it is nice that the text does tell us about this is one of the things I really wish we could have seen in story. Hell, there was even a very good opportunity to have it, which I think Tio is going to show that bit of a story later on.
Actually, next part, because I was about to mention. Now the only thing left to do is to reach the final boss. However, like I mentioned, I think in the first game, there was actually a DLC episode of this. Only one this time. And one centered around Alucard, that shows about him placing the relics inside the castle psychic conscious of his father. So that's what the next couple of parts will be dedicated to. So tune in next time, where we journey into Alucard's small journey, which I think is titled Revelations or something. I forgot the actual name. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.